Hi parents, I'm teacher Esther. Thank you for your patience and it's nice to see you again. So as what I've mentioned in my previous video, today I will be sharing on how to guide your child write a good composition. Okay, two of the most common problems that parents have mentioned to me are that their children have no interest and no confidence in writing Chinese composition. Okay, to tackle these two problems, we need to understand what is the root or what are the root causes for this before we can come up with an effective solution. So the 5 most common reasons which I have identified are lack of practice. Okay, because of the lack of practice, many students are unable to be able to complete the composition in time. Okay, they are also unable to analyze what is the important points to take note of in the composition. All right, but having said that, writing too many compositions can also cause a child to lose interest in writing composition. I've seen many students who have been writing compositions almost every week, and the next time you gave them a composition practice to do, they will show no interest at all. Okay, so we try not to do too many also. Lack of story plot. Okay, this is one of the very common issues that most of our students are facing, which leads to no confidence because of a lack of ideas. So when it comes to writing, they find it very difficult to write a very interesting composition. Okay, and besides that, lack of beautiful phrases and unable to construct sentences. Okay, so today we are going to look at how we can improve, help our children improve in this area so that they can write a good composition. All right. So today's objectives, I will try to share with you so that we can make Chinese composition writing interesting and useful for your child. Okay. So besides that, of course, to increase their confidence in writing composition is very important too. So today's focus, we will be touching on story plot. Second, beautiful phrases. Third, construct sentences. And fourth, writing a composition. So I will go through on the steps to write a composition with your child. So let's look at number 1, story plot. Okay, because before we can go into that, we need to understand the types of composition in P5 and P6. Okay, for those students who are taking standard Chinese, they will be given 2 choices. One is picture composition and one is topic-based composition, which we call 命题作文. Okay, so they are supposed to choose one of these questions to do during the examination. Okay, as for higher mother tongue students, this is just a brief introduction on the type of composition they will be doing. For higher mother tongue, they will be touching on, they will be given 2 choices. One is 情境作文, which we call the scenario-based composition, and second is the 完成作文, complete the composition. So today we will be covering on standard Chinese composition, okay, and we'll focus a lot on 看图作文. I will explain my reason why later. Okay, so let's look at 看图作文. Okay, so the first one, 看图作文, picture composition. Students will be given a 6-picture composition. Last picture is a question mark. So students have to come up with a conclusion themselves. Okay. And they will be given 8 helping words to guide them for each picture from picture 1 to picture 5. Okay. This is considered the easier composition, the easier option. And hence, most educators or teachers will encourage our students to write this type of composition. Okay, this is to prevent them from writing out of point. Okay. The second type is 命题作文, topic-based composition. Okay, a topic will be given to the child. For example, 我做错了一件事情. And there will be some guiding questions they are given. Like for example, 你做了什么错事? 为什么你会这么做? 你受了什么样的惩罚? 你从这件事中学到了什么? Okay, for this type of questions, besides the questions and the topic that is given, nothing else is provided. So there are a few things that your child has to take note of. In this compo writing, they must make sure that they write the 5W and 1H. And besides that, right, the students need to analyze the questions very carefully so that they do not go out of point. For example, over here, 我做错了一件事. Your child has to make sure that they are writing as the first person in the composition. Okay, so it's about 我. We cannot write 小明 or 他. Okay, 那做错一件事, it must be only one thing. You must make sure that you do not write more than one thing, that is one mistakes, sort of. Like, so if you write 2 mistakes, sorry, out of point already. Okay. Okay, so for this kind of questions, in fact, when we are doing 命题作文, it is not as difficult if you already have picture composition in mind. What do I mean by this? Okay, if a child has been exposed to many picture composition, when they see such a topic-based composition, they should or they will be able to have the story plot in mind. Okay, it can be something that they have done before, so it's easier for them. I do not encourage students to try this topic-based composition if they have no idea of what they want to write at all. Okay, however, in situations where they see the question and they can immediately recall a picture composition that they have written, then they can try doing this. They can choose this question. All right. Okay, because you see over here, in fact, if you look at the 4 questions again, 你做错了什么事? Looking at the picture number 4, we know that he stole a pen. Okay, 为什么他会这么做? Let's refer to picture 3. Because of price tag, look at his price tag. It means it's very expensive, or probably he couldn't afford it. 你受了什么样的惩罚? Looking at picture 5. And you can guess picture 6, he will be reprimanded or probably be caught by the police or be punished by parents. Okay, 受到了惩罚，你可以去想。那还有最后一个，你从这件事中学到了什么? What do you learn from this? So over here, I think it's very clear that we know that stealing is wrong, it's not correct. Okay. So if you were to ask me, should my child choose a picture composition or topic-based composition? My advice is that if the picture composition is too difficult to write, okay, for example, there's a mysterious item or person that your child cannot explain or understand, then you can encourage him or her to look at the topic-based composition and try to recall some beautiful, some pictures that they have done before, some picture composition they have done before. If they have ideas, okay, then they can try doing topic-based composition. All right, so I encourage students to make their choices based on the topic, okay, instead of the type of compositions. All right. So next, let's look at beautiful phrases. Okay, for my students, I provide them a filled up summary sheet like this, okay, to let them have a overall view of what are the beautiful phrases they will learn at the end of the day. Okay, so these beautiful phrases summary sheet consists of 8 columns. Okay, these 8 columns are divided in according to the theme. For example, 开头、结尾、走啊、跑啊、跌倒, anything got to do with legs, they will be in one column. Then 生气、骂、吵架, this column is for angry, when you're scolding or you argue. And fighting can be under this column too. Okay, the next 4 columns, okay, the first one is 开心笑称赞. So anything with happiness, you'll put it under this side. Okay, then the next column is 难过、哭、惭愧. Sad or guilty, you can say 不好意思, can be under this character, this column too. Then the next one will be 惊吓、着急、害怕. The rest that cannot be classified under the previous 7 columns will be placed here, 其他. Okay. Okay, where are all the beautiful phrases? Where can the beautiful phrases be found? In fact, one of the very common place is from the textbook. Okay, one of the very common thing that you can use is the textbook, because the sentences that are used in the textbook are very beautiful, in fact. For example, over here, this is from chapter 8 of P6 textbook. 我边走边想，禁不住有些担忧. And the other one is 我好像饿极了的人见到了食物一样，急忙把书取下. Okay, the first one It's more like describing a person who is worried. The second one, describing a person who is eager and cannot wait to do something. So you can teach your child to remember these two sentences when you go through a chapter with a child or when they have gone through a chapter in school. So let's highlight these two sentences out and ask your child to remember, memorize it, and probably you can test your child. Okay, so for example, 我边走边想，禁不住有些担忧。Okay, you can be used in your composition this way. 明华的考试成绩又不及格了 so he failed his test, his examination. 他拖着沉重的脚步走回家，他边走边想，禁不住有些担忧。他担心爸爸妈妈看了成绩后会把他骂得狗血淋头。The second one, 我好像饿极了的人见到食物一样。Okay, we can use it this way. 小女孩和妈妈走丢了，害怕的哇哇大哭。当她看到妈妈走向她时，小女孩好像饿极了的人见到食物一样，急忙冲上前抱住了妈妈。Okay, so for your child to be able to apply these sentences, we need them to memorize the sentences first. So in order for your child to be able to apply these sentences in their composition, they need to first memorize the beautiful phrases. Okay, so how to teach them beautiful phrases? First, teach them a sentence a week. I will recommend you letting your child memorize 1 sentence to 2 sentences a week. At the beginning, maybe they will take more time to remember that sentence. So probably we start with 1. But as it goes on, right, you realize your child is able to remember faster and better. Probably you can increase it to 2 to 3 sentences a week. All right. Then having said that, right, you need to give them dictation. Give them in the form of dictation where you do not say anything. You expect them to write out all by themselves. Okay. They should be able to say it out first and then be able to write it out. So at the same time, while you're preparing them for composition, in fact, you're also preparing them for oral examination too. Because during examination, they can use the beautiful phrases to describe a person's expression or feelings. Okay? Then the third one, add sentence to the summary sheet. So after you test them and they do know how to write the dictation or the sentence, do ask them to add it to the summary sheet. You can have an empty summary sheet like this. Okay? Then you ask them to write it in. So this will be a summary sheet of their own. It's more of like a customized one. So after 1 year, you realize that this is almost filled out. Laminate it and ask your child to keep it one side. And when they start P6 or another year, they can have another summary sheet. So now this is what we have covered so far. Point number 1, story plot. Okay, so my advice is to give your child more ideas on what to write. We can expose them to more picture compositions, okay, so that they have more ideas, okay, when it comes to topic-based composition. The second one, beautiful phrases. Okay, like what I mentioned earlier, we can ask our children to memorize and we give them dictation. Then once they have learned that sentence, let's add it into the summary sheet. So that will be their a collection of beautiful phrases. Okay, just a note here. Some parents do ask me, is it necessary to memorize beautiful phrases? Would it help? Okay, my answer is yes, it is necessary because I find this is a fundamental, fundamental skill that they need to write a good composition. Okay, let's think of it this way. If a child wants to be a scientist, want to be an inventor, and he doesn't even know what is the formula for energy, for force, will he be able to create the things that he wants to? No. So basic fundamentals knowledge are very important. To me, beautiful phrases is the fundamental. It's the very basic knowledge that they should have, okay, in order to write a good composition. Of course, if you want the child to be creative, yes, it can be done, but this can only be done at a later stage. Okay, we learn from others, then we acquire it, we apply, we create. it is we have to follow the steps through lah. You cannot expect a child to be creative when you don't even have the basic. Agree? Okay, so I do encourage students to learn beautiful phrases. All right. Okay, now we go to the third point. Okay, this will be what I'll be sharing about how to construct sentences. Okay, we should teach sentence construction during vocabulary learning. So this should be done on a weekly basis when the child is going through chapter learning. Okay, if you remember from my first sharing on how to check your child's learning, okay, we did pairing with the word cards. Okay, and then besides reading out the vocabularies, besides asking your child to read out the vocabularies to test whether they know how to read that word, we also ask them to say the meanings. And in addition to it, in order to help them prepare for composition writing, we need to teach them, we need to test them to form a sentence. Okay, so this is a skill that needs to be done. You need to start doing it right from the first day. Okay, not until the day when exam is coming. Okay, so for example, 身体瘦弱. Okay, we can ask a child, 身体瘦弱, can you form a sentence for me? Can you construct a sentence for me? Okay, so if your child say, 奶奶身体瘦弱, probably you can correct your child that, this is not enough. Okay, probably you can say, 奶奶生病了, 所以身体变得瘦弱. Okay, if your child can learn it every week, right, they will find it is quite easy. Okay, instead of trying to put everything together nearing the examination, they will feel very stressed. All right, so in order to write a good sentence, write a good composition, we should start preparing our child early. Okay, so the last point, which is our main focus for today, which is writing a composition. So we have touched on story plot, beautiful phrases, constructing of sentences. So now we will look at writing a composition. Okay. There are 3 steps to writing a composition. When you want your child to practice writing composition, right, you must remember to follow the 3 steps. Okay, step number 1 is words allocation. Okay, so given 8 helping words, we have to allocate the helping words to each picture. So usually I'll ask your child my students to indicate the picture number at the side of the vocabulary. This way, for example, 第一个是炎热，炎热指的是哪一张图片 ？Picture number 1. So you just write the number 1 at the side of the vocabulary. Okay, this is for them to refer later when they are writing sentences with regards to picture 1. Okay, so 满头大汗 it should be picture 1 too, as we can see. And 书店 picture 2, 吹冷气 probably picture 2 because it's inside the bookstore already. And the next one, 钢笔 happens in picture 3 and picture 2. So we will usually advise my students to write the first picture when it appears. Okay, 柜 picture 3, 偷 picture 4, and 警铃 picture 5. Okay, and last picture, no helping words. So students has to be creative and come out with a solution or a conclusion. Okay. Okay, then step 2, this is a very important step. I know some students will tell me, I have no time to do brainstorming during examination. It is okay. But right now, when you are practicing, you should try to give them a chance to learn brainstorming for ideas. Okay, this brainstorming stage is for them to brainstorm for beautiful phrases. Okay, they have to think of some beautiful phrases that can fit into each picture. So let's give them 10 minutes. As a start, probably you can give them 15 to 20 minutes. Okay, of course, we know that during exam, they are only 15 minutes. They can't afford to spend 20 minutes on brainstorming. But as what I said, as a start, we're trying to encourage them to think. Okay, so thinking needs time. Okay, and as they move on, right, they will get faster and faster. So let's give them some time at the beginning. Okay. Okay, so probably you can write 3 dots beside each picture. Okay, like this. And then you can ask your child to brainstorm for the ideas. Okay, how do they brainstorm? Okay, during these 10 minutes, they are supposed to refer to the summary sheet. Okay, then probably by looking at each picture, they identify which sentences can fit into that picture. Okay, so probably they can select it. Okay, like this. 3步并作2步子跑，然后还有拖着疲倦的身子走回家，然后还有像脱了缰的野马，狠狠的教训气得火冒三丈。Okay， 很惭愧。 Okay, 吓了一跳，这边是着急。These beautiful phrases will describe how nervous, how scared he was. Okay, and so after brainstorming, they're supposed to put in they're supposed to note down what are the sentences they are going to use for that particular picture. So I do not advise students to write as the entire statement because it's going to take a lot of time. Okay, so instead of doing that, they just need to write down 1 or 2 words to just to note down that this is the sentence they will be using later. Okay, so over here they can give a few sentences for each picture. For pictures that they cannot come up with any beautiful phrases, or they feel that no beautiful phrases is suitable, they can leave it blank. It is okay, but remind your child just probably in another picture they should come up with more beautiful phrases. Okay. Okay, so for example, over here, these are the beautiful phrases they have come up with. So this 10 minutes, okay, you give them this time to brainstorm for beautiful phrases. Okay, so step 1 and step 2 can be done almost every week. If you want to do it every week, will be fine because it doesn't take a lot of time. So now let's go to step 3, which is the writing portion. Okay, before I start this, I encourage parents to let your child practice step 1 and step 2 regularly. And then as for step 3, probably one or 2 times per month. Okay, not too many times. That's why I say they will lose interest in writing because this is the part where it requires them to write a lot of words. Okay, and personally, I feel that ideas, the ability to analyze the questions, the ability to come up with ideas is more important. It needs time to build out that skill. So it is good to let them practice step 1 and step 2 on a weekly basis. And then for step 3, probably when you feel that they're ready, maybe for example, like first week and second week, you're doing brainstorming, step 1 and step 2. And probably the 3rd week, you ask them to write one composition. Okay, let them, we can start slow. Then as they get used to it, probably we can let them write more. Okay. Okay, so these are the 2 vocabularies we have chosen. We have allocated to this picture earlier. And these are the beautiful phrases that we have we have chosen also. Okay, so if they were to write it in a complete sentences, but in point form, okay, now we are not writing in a composition form, as an entire composition, we're writing in point form, okay, for each picture. So this is a practice, it's not examination, so we can let them write it this way. Okay, you can ask them to write out the complete sentence like this. 铃铃铃，放学的铃声响了，同学们一窝蜂地冲出学校，明华也不例外。因为烈日当空，天气很炎热，所以他满头大汗。So 炎热 and 满头大汗 are the vocabularies they are allocated for this picture, so we must use them. Okay, the third one, 明华拖着疲惫的身子走回家。This is a beautiful phrase we have selected. Okay, the next picture, 书店吹冷气和钢笔。If your child has been practicing how to form sentences using vocabularies, they'll probably come up with one sentence like 书店吹冷气 to form a sentence like 他踏进书店吹冷气 you know, it's not too difficult to construct a simple sentence. Then we have selected 2 beautiful phrases, 吸引他的注意和好像恶极的人似的。So we can form sentences like this. 途中，他经过一家书店，便决定进去吹冷气。Okay, 这时，一支精美的钢笔吸引了他的注意。So we use the three vocabularies to form sentences. Okay, 他好像饿极了的人，见到食物一样，急忙把钢笔拿起来，仔细的看。So over here we are using the beautiful phrase. Okay, 贵。Okay, 大吃一惊 and 目瞪口呆 are the beautiful phrases we have come up with, we have selected earlier. 所以当他看到钢笔的价格时，他顿时大吃一惊，目瞪口呆。That means when he saw the price tag, wow, it was so expensive that he had a shock. Okay, 他想，这支钢笔太贵了，我要等到什么时候才能拥有它呢？ Okay, you can ask your child to try writing 1 or 2 conversations or thoughts in their composition. Okay, but not too many. Okay. Okay, then next, 偷. Okay, 偷 there are some standard phrases they can use. Okay. So here, 突然他心里起了个坏念头 ，bad thoughts. He has a bad thought. 他决定偷钢笔。他东张西望，趁没有人注意时，以迅雷不及掩耳的速度把钢笔塞进了口袋里。It is such a beautiful phrase, right? Just to describe stealing. So if a child knows beautiful phrases, they can elaborate on this in details. But if they do not have beautiful phrases like this, right? Probably they'll just say, 他看没有人就偷钢笔. It's very short. Number of words may not be reached, you know. Okay, so the picture number 5, 精灵, and these are the beautiful phrases that we have selected. So you can write, 明华一踏出店门口时，书店的警铃就响了起来。So what is his first response? 他吓得脸色苍白，两腿发软。Okay, I do not want to write too many beautiful phrases here because I also want to write down what happened after this. Okay, 一名店员听到了，便像脱了缰的野马，快速的跑了过来。Okay, this is the reaction. And then next, I'll talk about the response of 明华 again. 明华害怕的冷汗直流，不知如何是好。Okay, so lastly, we have come to the last picture, which is a question mark. So earlier, we have selected 3 beautiful phrases to conclude this composition. All right, so let's phrase them according to what we think it can be. For example, now 店员跑了过来. So probably the first thing he will do is go, right? Okay, so we can write it this way. 店员气得火冒三丈，狠狠地骂了明华一顿。Then what about 明华? What is his response? You can write it this way. 明华感到惭愧极了，脸红得像熟透的番茄一样。他从口袋里拿出了钢笔，低下头向店员道歉，并答应以后再也不敢偷东西了。Okay, it is good to write the response of a person who is being scolded. Okay, he should be remorseful. He should feel know that he has done something wrong. Okay, to conclude that composition. Okay, 所谓经一事长一智，经过这件事后，明华再也不敢偷东西了。好，my advice to parents is that when we teach them beautiful phrases, I know that many of us will feel that, hey, this is a very simple conclusion statement. Yes, it is very simple, but I don't encourage you to stop here only. You can teach your child more difficult sentences like 一朝被蛇咬，十年怕井绳. Okay, or instead of 气得火冒三丈, maybe you can write something like 气得七窍生烟. But at the beginning, what we want to do is to teach them something simple, sentences that are simple enough to let them feel that actually beautiful phrases are not difficult to learn. Okay, I'm okay to learn more. Okay, then there will be a stage, you will come to a stage where they will say, yeah, this is so easy already. I can do longer sentences. You see? So that is our main point. When we want to teach our children new things on skills, right? Or things they are not so interested in, we should start from something that is simpler. Let them feel that it is achievable, doable, and it's not so terrifying to them. Okay? So if you put all the beautiful phrases together, all the sentences together, you will see a composition like this. Okay, all those that are highlighted in pink are beautiful phrases. So a look at this at a glance, right? At one glance, you will see that actually more than half or almost half of the compositions are beautiful phrases. Okay, so without these sentences, the composition can be very simple, too simple. Okay. Okay, so to give you a summary of what we have covered today, first, teach a child story plot by exposing them to many picture composition. Second, teach them beautiful phrases and ask them to have their own collection of beautiful phrases in a summary sheet, okay, for easy reference in the at the end of the day. So number 3, construct sentences. To practice constructing of sentences with your child on a weekly basis when you test their vocabularies, okay, because they are working it's a holistic kind of learning. Okay, so you don't just learn vocabulary for the sake of vocabulary learning. You don't learn beautiful phrases for the sake of beautiful phrases learning only. In fact, you can use them for example, beautiful phrases can be used in oral. Okay, you can use them in oral. You can use it in even comprehension. Okay, then the last one, of course, is number 4, writing a composition. Remember the 3 steps. Step 1, words allocation. Step 2, brainstorming 10 minutes. And step 3, writing of the composition itself. Okay, you can do step 1 and step 2 as many times as you want, probably every week. But for step 3, do remember, as what I said earlier, it is good to let them do writing probably 1 or 2 per month and not too many, because it will let them lose interest. Okay, so with this, I hope your child find interest in writing Chinese composition. Bye bye, see you soon.